Well, time to record this new episode. I feel confident I finally made up for all the mispronunciations I made in the Oh. At last, I can finally call this retrospective done. Since I started this project back in May, I have learned a lot about video and audio editing, the value of double checking my scripts, how to capture game footage, and that maybe Let's Plays aren't for me. The early episodes are rough, but I still feel proud of them and the thoughts I shared on all these amazing games. My aim with this channel was initially just to share my thoughts on various games I've played, but I think I found a better angle as I've done this series, helping people have a better appreciation for the work that goes into games they play, and help show how critical reading into these games can enhance your own experience, or even help you personally grow as a person. I know that last part sounds silly, but I can say from experience that if I had not played The World Ends With You and Always Sometimes Monsters, and engaged with their themes, I would be a completely different person than where I am now. There are negatives and positives in any work that can reveal to us things we may not even thought of before or considered, and that definitely includes Unavowed. This is the first game Dave Gilbert has directed since 2014, and there was definitely some expectations behind it as information slowly came out. Oddly, I was mostly unaware of the game until a few months before I started this series. I never read up on any of the details before I was given it for review, so I wasn't sure what to expect other than that there was some sort of inspiration taken from tabletop RPGs. So the intro starting by asking your gender, name, and a background you're choosing threw me for a loop. As some sort of exorcism goes on with your seemingly possessed player character, you then have to play through an origin story that explains how you were possessed in a very similar manner to the starting stories of Dragon Age Origins. Later finding out that BioWare's work was indeed an inspiration helped explain a lot of this. Unavowed is a strange blend of role-playing game and point-and-click graphic adventure, taking design norms from both styles and making them into a cohesive whole. On the whole, I think this game isn't as impressive design-wise as Lamplight City, but the fact this sort of a game exists at all at such a high level of quality is definitely commendable. The game is structured in a similar way as Lamplight City, with a starting prologue, a segment leading into a series of cases, 6 solo here, with an ending scenario different in structure and focus from the other cases. Everything is divided in clean chunks, but recontextualized into RPG-style pacing. Instead of getting story chunks after solving the case, you get a chance to talk with your various teammates, learn more about them, get their views on the previous case outcome, and have more chances to find how you want to play your character. Just like Lamplight City, Unavowed's pacing and episodic structure makes for an addictive experience, but it finds a different way to create replayability. Instead of having a complex weaving of decisions and possible outcomes that change how later cases play out, the choices you make in each case impact only the final segment of the game, and how those cases play out depends entirely on who you bring into your party. You see, Unavowed's premise is that you are a lowly human who is possessed by a demon for a year, and that demon has done all sorts of horrible things in said year with your body. As you go through the cases, you discover more of what they did under your name, cleaning up the mess they created. Helping you out are the Unavowed, a sort of secret organization that operates around the world to protect the human or mundane world from the supernatural. You start with half-gen Mandana and fire mage Eli Beckett, but quickly gain an NYPD detective named Vicki Santana and a spirit medium named Logan Brown. You can take 2 of them to the field for each case, either both of the vets or 1 vet and 1 rookie, and who you pick completely changes the puzzles you have to solve to get to the bottom of the mystery.
The leather appears burnt, quite severely.
But look, you can still see initials printed on the bottom corner. AF. That's what we in the cop business call a clue.
Each of your companions has a different set of skills. Mandana can pry things open with her saber and climb things around the area. Eli can use both his fire magic and a fire reading spell that lets you see any previously burned document. Vicki has connections with just about every officer you find and can use her gun for certain puzzles, and Logan can converse with spirits and gather information that way. The lines you follow to gather information change completely based on who you have with you. So, for example, that hazy-looking spirit hanging over there becomes an important witness when Logan is around, or a tidbit about a burnt BBQ invite ends up becoming central to finding a password with Eli's fire reading help. When I first reviewed the game, I ended up doing 3 playthroughs just to see all the different ways case puzzles can change, and I was surprised by the amount of thought that went into the whole experience, down to the vet and rookie pairing rule put in place so that certain story scenes can play out properly. This goes especially for the second set of cases, where you have your full party and can use them as you see fit. There are parts in these cases where a character you may not have selected enters the case anyways due to an unexpected revelation requiring their help or demanding their attention for personal reasons. Touches like these make the team feel really fleshed out, helping the role-playing aspects and keeping you on your toes. The puzzles in this game are never hard, as the only times I got stuck were due to me overthinking a genuinely simple puzzle. It actually felt a tad easier than the Blackwell series did, with even the notes mechanic removed in favor of more role-playing dialogue choices for the sake of creating a texture in the world around you. It's no resonance, but it's not trying to be that at all. Dave Gilbert explained on Twitter once that his focus for the Blackwell games was to make you feel sad, while Unavowed's aim was to make you feel happy. Despite the much darker story elements in the game compared to Blackwell, including an increase in violence, Unavowed's tone is that of a role-playing campaign designed by a group of friends playing Dungeons & Dragons or BioWare circa Dragon Age and Mass Effect 2. Most of the narrative content in the game is focused on the characters reacting to different situations or exploring them outright. There's a bigger story at the endgame that's very personal for your player character, but it's treated mainly as secondary to several interesting scenarios with minor connections to it. Where Blackwell was heavily interested in exploring its grim subject matter and finding some sort of truth or messages in its themes, Unavowed aims more to entertain, exploring different themes and ideas, but more as ways to explore its core cast. As someone who considers Mass Effect 2 the best in the series, I greatly enjoy this approach in every member of the cast. Mandana is probably my least favorite of the party, that's only because everyone else has such a strong personality from the get-go. She's the child of a long-dead pirate queen and a djinn named Kalash, the chief of the New York chapter of the Unavowed. She's regularly shown as reserved and thoughtful, but also very strict and prone to childlike excitable outbursts. She loved her mother's seafaring way of life and took swordplay as a toddler, but she was raised and taught by her father to make use of her abilities with proper judgment and a cool head. She appreciates her unique place in the world as a non-human, but detests Jin's culture on focus on trickery and cleverness, and worse yet hates how she was stereotyped by her Jin heritage.
I am immortal, like a djinn. I abhor falsehood, like a djinn. I feel love as humans do. I bleed as humans do. Djinn and human. I discard one for the other as it suits me, donning them like costumes. But which one is me? Do I follow my mother or my father?
There's fun to be had with her, especially on the Staten Island and Wall Street cases, though I often found myself bringing Eli along instead, partly because I related to him more, despite my own issues with having a biracial identity. Mandana keeps all her issues inside as confused angst as she does what's needed for the team. Eli does not. Eli Beckett is a 92-year-old fire mage, though he doesn't look it. Originally, he was a number-crunching turbo nerd of an accountant back in the days before computers even existed for wide public use. He was a devoted family man who lost his wife far too early and raised his 2 daughters all by himself, somehow managing to find the time to work himself up to partner in his firm. And then he set his office on fire with his mind. Eli was rescued by Mandana and Kalash, the two letting him join their team and helping him fake his death to protect both his life and the lives of his children and bloodline, and as it turns out, Eli isn't just any fire mage, he's one of the last, thanks to the efforts of a group called the Hunters of Alden. Far ago in the past, there was an incredibly powerful fire mage named Alden, who burned down entire towns and villages for human dwellers and Fae alike. He was such a monster that an entire order of Fae formed together, gained equally incredible power, and took revenge on him as the Hunters of Alden. However, they soon went too far and began to purge the world of all fire mages, especially anyone in Alden's bloodline. Eli also happens to be the great-grandson of Alden, a fact that haunts him to this day. Where Mandana is defined by introspection, Eli is defined by sheer passion, a flame that lights the way in hard times and can potentially burn those around it. He jokes and uses humor to diffuse situations and tries to give advice for his own thoughts whenever he hears of a family being broken apart, something he knows all too well. However, he fears that he could one day become as bad as Alden and is terrified of losing his humanity, coming close at one point in the Wall Street case as things end up going in a very personal direction.
I know that look. It's the face of a recovering alcoholic staring at a sealed whiskey bottle.
I want to burn it. I want to burn that bank to the ground. What could stop me? Hell, who could stop me? You damn well better. I wasn't going to do it. Don't worry, not him. But I want to. I really want to. You understand that, right?
Eli reminds me of my own high passions, the anger and joy I tend to constantly feel, getting lost in something I enjoy but also getting hung up on an injustice or my own self-loathing. He's someone you want to have around for a good time, but also someone you understand desperately needs stability and a sense of purpose to keep himself going. It's fitting that he and Mandana eventually get revealed as an item, two people defined by an uncertainty in their own existence who can give themselves some form of simplicity. Vicki Santana ends up being a great contrast to Eli in a way. Both of them come from tight-knit families, Vicki being a cop in a very large cop family, but Vicki has no real doubt of who she is or fears what she can do. She's the most normal person in the cast outside your player character, but her sheer drive is beyond anyone else's. Once she has a goal, she chases it, even if the whole world is against her. When you find her instead an island case, she's been living a year after getting shot investigating a storm of possible murders. No one even seems to recognize his crimes. All of her friends and family seeing her has gone off the deep end and beyond their help. She has absolutely no powers, but she might be the most frightening member of the Unavowed simply because there's absolutely no breaking point for her. In the Brooklyn case, if you bring her along, it's revealed her greatest emotional baggage is that she's annoyed no one knows how amazing she is. She wants a parade and a key from the city. She wants people to see her as she sees herself. A real-life superhero, fighting evil and hunting monsters. Where Mandana could have used more fleshing out and exploration of her personality, Vicki needs nothing else. She's the single most complete person in the whole game, someone who needs no personal maintenance for complexity. She has those she loves and she hurts the same as everyone else does, but when those personal demons have the potential to destroy everyone else, Vicki Santana always finds a way to keep her head above water even in a flood.
I'm fine. Just show me the monsters and I'll take them out.
Her total opposite is Logan Brown, the new spirit medium in New York City. Logan acts as the connective tissue with the Blackwell series, connecting the games in focused continuity, especially since his spirit guide KK is the same little girl that Rosa and Joey helped move on in Blackwell Epiphany. He's also Rose's opposite, not just in gender and ethnicity, but in personality. Logan is a former addict who's done a lot of self-destructive things in his past, none that he's proud of thanks to his alcoholism. He's been sober for 5 years by the time you meet him, assuming you didn't meet him a year before in the bartender origin, and has taken a job helping spirits over the past year. Where Rosa was initially sloppy and rejected her legacy, Logan took to it like a complete natural, even getting along with KK with no problems. While Rosa was so hung up on her own problems to really make a good shoulder to cry on, Logan is defined by a deep well of empathy that allows him to talk with the spirits just as well as KK. I come from a family with a long history of addiction, so Logan ended up being the most relatable party member to me and my personal favorite. He's a guy in a bad situation trying to find constructive ways to deal with it instead of resorting to destructive escapes, but he isn't the joy killer you would expect him to be. In a relaxed setting, he laughs and tosses out a deadpan line here and there, and he takes care not to annoy other people. He sees something out of the ordinary and adapts to it even if it's difficult for him, and finds some sort of way to talk with someone. He keeps everyone calm and offers ethical suggestions to every problem, seeing value in mercy and communication. He's a great balance for everyone overall. He's someone that Mandana can easily talk to about various aspects of humanity and modern life she feels disconnected from, a calming presence to counter Nikki's fury, an emotional check when Eli gets too involved. He's kind of like the person I want to be. KK even manages to be a fun character in her own right, even though she's only in one segment in the game where you can see and talk to her. She's a spunky tyke who pushes Logan into risk he's normally adverse to, dragging him out of his bubble to interact with those around him. It's also arguable that he's been a great influence on her, teaching her right from wrong and giving her a sense of normalcy she needed to be herself. Becoming a spirit medium was arguably the best thing that ever happened to Logan, and KK becoming his guide was equally perfect calling for her. A man who's seen too much in a girl who will never grow up, finding a parent and childlike bond and becoming better for it. Everyone brings something different to the team. Mandana acts as the soul of the team, Eli the brains, Vicki the brawn, and Logan and KK form their heart.
You can try, KK. It can't hurt.
What's she doing?
She's, giving you a hug. Maybe he's not the hugging type.
Dave Gilbert's knack for characters with a strongly human core remains intact, even though now he has the cast expand to include a merman, 2 dragons, a fairy, and other various non-human beings. Everyone feels believable, and I'm impressed with just how relatable every single non-human character is. There's no truly evil being among them, each with their own understandable reason for their actions, ranging from desperation to just the need to escape a bad situation. The only major exceptions are your demon and the villain of the Wall Street case, but even their brands of evil prove to be all too familiar and human. Everyone's likable and sympathetic stories also serve well to create some truly gut-wrenching decisions at the end of each case. The biggest one definitely being the Brooklyn's no-win scenario that had me second-guessing myself for about 5 minutes the first time I went through it. Where Lamplight City felt like one really good novella divided into chunks by some standalone mysteries, Unavowed paints a complete picture in its various chapters, partly because your player character story is defined entirely by how you choose to approach every case. There are a few interesting ideas mixed in here that I found myself thinking over. Gilbert's good old legacy theme is back in full force, not just with the family drama 3 of the 4 party members deal with, but also with the Chinatown case and the victim of your demon's crimes. The case sticks out to me because it may be one of the few cases of Gilbert going against his family means everything running theme, and not in the way you would expect that to go down. There are also some themes of authority and responsibility, but the one that stood out to me was the focus on self-destructive nature of left unchecked creative drive in the Actor Origin of Brooklyn case. Where most creatives consider art a good in and of itself, occasionally discussing over the responsibility of the artist and what they create, it's rare I see a story like this dealing with the problems of self-imposed crunch and the desire for a perfect work. There's danger in letting a project consume you or letting others be consumed by their work, and it's an idea I rarely see explored. I found this a welcome addition and it resonated with me on a much deeper level than anything else.
Huh? Oh, it's you. Sorry, can't talk. I'm really busy. Oh, I've gone beyond rewrites now. I'm slashing the whole thing. I mean, what was I thinking? Killing off the hero's father in the first act? He only has 2 lines. He needs more scenes. More engagement, so when he dies, we'll feel it. And that's important, getting people to feel. I understand that now.
There is a bit in the Bronx case I wasn't so wild about, though. Revolving around your demon using your body to seduce and have sex with a married man. It's played off for laughs, but I do understand this falls into fairly uncomfortable territory to those who have dealt with sexual assault in the past, so do keep this in mind if you want to play the game. It's the only significant low point for me. Gilbert handled the writing and programming, while Ben Chandler and Ivan Ulanoff did their own thing in environmental art, character sprites, and portrait art as usual. I gushed about the two so much already that I honestly feel like I have nothing to add about their work. Thomas Reagan, I apologize for mispronouncing your name before, also returns from the Blackwell series as a composer, doing strong compositions as always. There's a nice mixture of genres too, each track tailor fit for their given areas and moments. It's another case of not sticking out, but managing to give the punctuation every moment needs for that extra kick. Janet Gilbert also handled some additional programming, while 2 narrative consultants are listed, and I found one of them very interesting. Jennifer Allaway isn't too surprising to see since she did the same duty for Starlight, but I was surprised by the presence of Jennifer Brandis Helper, who's written for every single Dragon Age game to date. Just when you thought the Bioware connections were over. Frank Totoro finally gets the role that lets him show off his stuff as Eli Beckett, stealing the spotlight from most everyone fairly regularly with his great balancing of Eli's constantly exploding emotion and snarky in the moment zingers. I really want to see him get more work because he absolutely nailed things here.
Because I'm holding a baby, babies are simple. You feed them, shelter them, keep them alive. Even keeping a baby entertained is easy. I mean, heck, they laugh at anything. But raising them, molding them, teaching them right from wrong. Did I do that right? I have no idea. I can only hope I did. But it's out of my hands now. That's all I know.
Sandra Espinosa does a solid job as Mandana, previously getting some small roles in Primordia and Resonance. She doesn't show off much due to Mandana's more of a reserved personality, but the few moments she gets to have a lark are well spent, and she gives her a fairly warm and authentic voice that conveys much of in all the right moments.
I'm only out here because the little boss here wants to draw. She's my daughter. It amounts to the same thing, doesn't it? Sorry, is something funny?
Apologies. I am envisioning my father calling me boss. It is an amusing thought, and I needed the distraction. Thank you.
Arlise Segal surprised me as Vicki, sounding nothing like either Kathy Rain or Max Lau from Techno Babylon, putting on a thick New York accent and giving Vicki a great to-the-point delivery. She gets some of the best lines in the game, and while the lines are good, it's delivery that makes them great. I especially love her bit at the end of the Staten Island case.
Yeah, you're a freaking hero. You made me think I was crazy. You made everyone think I was crazy. So tell me, you gaslighting bitch, why single me out?
Logan Cunningham, who I think I just now realized is the narrator from Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, makes a return to Wadjet Eye since he voiced Horatio Noble in Primordia as Logan Brown, and the casting was absolutely perfect. Cunningham has a ridiculously impressive range, but his greatest strength has always been his ability to make a character sound real. He does that with ease here, making the troubled spirit medium stand out despite his more low-key personality.
Feeling weird after drinking something strange? Gee, I have no idea what that's like.
A ton of other familiar faces appear in the cast as well, and that of course includes Abe Goldfarb. Two of his roles are very small, but his third as Goodfellow, the villain of the Wall Street case, is gloriously hammy. It's so obviously him, and he's having so much fun with such a despicable character that it's hard not to love the moment he appears in the game.
You, Mr. Kravitz, are breaking the law of my people.
I'm... what?
You owe me a favor, and that means you're mine.
Many old faces from the Black Ball games get cameos with familiar actors, including Francisco Gonzalez's Sam Durkin in the Chinatown case. No member of the cast really sticks out as bad either, everyone playing their roles as directed. The one major surprise comes in the form of Kalash's actor. Now, here's what Kalash normally sounds like.
Nobody joins the Unavowed, boy. We serve it. We are the wall against the darkness.
And here's what his voice actor normally sounds like.
TV-san, there is no one I trust more than you. I'm glad to hear it, Lamp-san. You're a very important person to me.
Oh, they fucking.
Yes, that is Sung Wan Cho, the guy famous for his short video skits, a regular on Crunchyroll's Anime Crimes Division, and of course, that guy who hung out with Matt from Super Best Friends to play a fan-made Phoenix Wright porn game. And no, I will not be sharing a clip from that. You can go find it for yourself. I said Logan Cunningham had range before, but based solely off this one performance, I think he might have met his match. As for Dave Gilbert, well, here's where we get knee-deep in the spoilers. I urge you to play Unavowed before watching ahead, because I'm about to spoil something massive that occurs late in the game. You have been warned. After completing 2 cases in the game's second set, you suddenly find yourself not in control of your own character. The usual talk with the party segments play out with you unable to make any choices, and once you're alone with yourself, you'll realize you've been possessed by your demon again. Dave Gilbert plays the demon for male players, and Shelley Smith-Shenroy handles the voice for female players, and both do a fantastic job. I was for this video that I decided to replay as man solely for Gilbert's performance because it's so on point for the character in ways I don't feel that Shenroy was.
Listen, you. I fought tooth and nail to get back into this body, and I'm not giving it up again now. So you stay calm, and you stay quiet, until I figure out how to shut you up for good. Not everything. Not by a long shot. So just relax, would you? I can't focus with you jabbering away in my head. Semantics. I'm in charge now. You're just a passenger. Doesn't matter. You'll go to sleep in time, just like you did before. I'll just have to ignore you until then.
Oh, and I should add that the demon you've been chasing, Melcarissa, isn't the person possessing your body. No, you're the demon. You are a consciousness with access to all knowledge, and you adopt the memories of the person who summons you. As for who summoned you?
Eli, the words in that exorcism spell, they do not actually specify demon, do they?
No, it's broader than that. The exact words were wicked spirit.
Yeah, well, I always was good at pretending. Hell, that was my life, wasn't it? Getting paid to pretend. Everyone said I was a great actor, but I was just hiding who I really was. All the time. Nobody else understood. Maury and Serena and the others, they did it for fun. I did it to survive.
Please, cease talking.
No, this is who I am. This is who I always have been. When I got my body back, I thought I could pretend again. Get back to living a normal life. But that's not possible, is it? And maybe that's a good thing. I'm so sick of pretending.
Oh God, shut up already!
The name you gave yourself was the name of the person who summoned you, and to replay the origin you picked occurs, you realize that the events you remembered were incorrect, a way to cope upon seeing the evils that your summoner was capable of. It's with this twist that Unavowed becomes kind of brilliant, putting a spotlight on a toxic mindset that runs rampant in the gaming world today, and arguably in the wider worldwide consciousness. The idea that you are the center of the world, the idea that everything exists to please you, and your inability to realize your own misery comes partly from your own inability to see people as people. The Summoner is more evil than any demon, a lost and confused soul who's turned to blood sacrifice and manipulation to fill the void that is their heart, and failing miserably at their goal of finding any sort of satisfaction in their existence. Everything they did was to make their own world where they were God, and what they created is a pathetic, broken reflection of the one they came from.
Holy shit. We're not in New York anymore, are we?
No, we made it into the Pocket Realm. It is a twisted version of our city.
They can comprehend the nuts and bolts, the basic elements that forms personalities in people, but they can't understand the actual humanity of others, let alone themselves. They feel a numb pain that can only find some sort of feeling in harming others, but it's fleeting and empty. They would destroy everything just to satisfy their fragile ego before they even try to self-reflect, with no excuse for the cruelty, let alone any sort of sympathetic motivation. When I see the Summoner, I see the worst possible version of the kinds of people who harass people out of industries or cheer when the minority is harmed or killed. I see someone who lost it to their own suffering and impose that suffering on others as the only way they know to lighten their own load for a brief moment. Replace pain for hate, reject love or passion for apathy. The Summoner might genuinely be one of the most cruel villains I've ever seen, their vindictiveness only matched by their smallness. Unavowed believes that role-playing is not just a way that we ascribe meaning onto ourselves through power fantasies, but a way we can better explore our own emotional depths as people, finding joy in that particular exercise. I find that message fairly accurate, especially with how I play RPGs. When I play one, the thrill of dominating a challenge comes second to just enjoying the time with my party, learning more about the cast and enjoying the little moments of connection. It's not about the monsters coming to destroy the world that needs defeating, it's about the colorful characters you meet along the way. It's not just your journey, it's theirs as well, so the best endings of Unavowed requiring the sacrifice of your player character makes perfect sense to me. Your time is over. Leave the world for the friends that you made and wish them happiness in whatever stories they have next. Hopefully you'll meet again one day. Unavowed isn't my favorite Wadjet Eye game, but it's pretty high up there.
I am Lula. I come across the void in search of conquest.
Stand down, creature. We will show no mercy.
What she said, just with more charbroiling.
Nice. I've got those new polymer copper bullets. Been meaning to test them out.
Guys, when you kill him, could you make sure there's no ghost left behind? I'm